Let's switch track to football at the moment, and we were rather hoping Bath City would be in action this afternoon against Ebbsfleet United in Vanarama National League South. Unfortunately, they're not. A great many things happening with the National League this week, but I'm delighted to say Bath City manager Jerry Gill joining me on the line this afternoon to talk through some of this. Jerry, good afternoon.
Hi, Owen. How are you doing?
Not too bad. And yourself? Well, I would say on yourself, but I guess you'd much rather be in the dugout watching the football than talking to me at the moment.
Yeah, it's a bit of a contrast. I was thinking back as I was coming on to you there to last week, actually, when we spoke on the bus after the game down at Dorking, which was a really good exercise at that point. We're thinking, right, okay, we're getting prepared to play today against Ebbsfleet at Twerton Park. But obviously things took a turn for the worse early parts of the week, and obviously the decision was made by the board that we were opting out and playing in the game, something that obviously as a staff and as players we're going to be disappointed with, because what we do is play football and we're prepared to play football, but of course we're fully in support of our football club and our board's decision, because that's what we're all about. We're one unit, we're together as a club, and it's important that we make the right decision for the football club at the right time.
We're going to talk to Chairman Nick Blofeld later on in the show, and obviously go through some of the ins and outs probably of the National League and you know the political side of things and all that. But from a football point of view, and for those who may not know, just lay out where we are in terms of the position, and you know where you were at the start of the week and what you were hoping to do, and where we are now.
Yeah, so obviously it's been well documented. There was funding that was promised, which is non-existent now. It's the goalposts, literally, excuse the pun, have moved, which means there's no income stream coming into the football club. How that affects the football is that we find it difficult to pay players' wages. We live day to day, week to week as a football club, like most non-league clubs. We don't have any income coming at the moment with companies that are hiring and renting the car park and office space at the ground. And we have enough funding to pay the wages up until the end of this month. Obviously, to try and find an X amount each week for a football club that's got no income is near on impossible. So what it meant was we came in training on Tuesday, and I had to then address the players and tell them there's a possibility, or a 99% chance at that time, that we weren't going to play this weekend. It also meant that we were going to go into furlough. We're now looking at the red tape on that, of whether we can train or not. But at this present moment in time, we don't think we can. So yeah, it dramatically changed where we were at, and what you're finding, Owen, is it's really disappointing. Really, this is not a club issue. This is a league issue, and they've almost forced our hand, and it's been very black and white. What I thought would have suited with an extended period to allow clubs to try and get their head around it and try and sort things, or the league or funding to come in to give us a little bit of time. And what you're finding now is clubs are getting involved with other clubs' business. There's toing and froing on social media, clubs slagging off other clubs, and it's not what that's about. That leaves a real bitter taste in your mouth, because it's not for the clubs to be like that. Everyone's got their own agendas. No one knows other clubs' business. And like I said, you know, I got a little bit of stick for going down to Dorking last week, but we went there in good faith, thinking that we were going to start again. It wasn't until, as I said, Monday, Tuesday, that I started to realise it might not happen. So, yeah, it's turned very political. However much I want to talk about football, it's now turned very political. And where we are at the moment, we're sort of stuck in limbo, not knowing whether we're actually going to go back or not. And the reality of that is, sat here, is we might have 5 months without football. And the knock-on effect in all sorts of areas is pretty bad to us on the football side of things. And
I mean, you know, the reality is, and this is not a reflection on Bath City, because obviously, quite rightly, you've got to watch out for your own interests and all that. But I mean, the reality, just looking at the fixture list, there are a couple of fixtures going on in your division this afternoon. So I mean, it's all a bit of a mess, really, isn't it?
Yes, that's the hard bit. I think if we're sat here first lockdown and we're not playing at all, the league's suspended. It's a little bit easier to take, but when you're seeing there's teams and our league is still competing today, I've got to be honest, it's a real difficult one to take. And I'm sat here watching Soccer Saturday, and it's making it worse. I'm seeing the games and watching all the results coming through, and I've been off for a run to try and clear my head. But it's for someone who's, I live and breathe football, as you know, and it's difficult. It's very difficult on a Saturday. And we're powerless, really. And like I said, I'm in full support of our football club. We're powerless as a football club. We can't magic up money if it's not there, and we have to take this stance. As you've seen, there is a couple of clubs who are doing the same in the league, and a lot more in the north. But there's this 28-day period which was put in there for clubs to vote. Some clubs are prolonging that naturally. Some are in the FA Trophy. Again, the politics around that. I've seen clubs in our league over recent weeks saying it's not safe to do so because of COVID. They feel as if dressing rooms aren't big enough and protocol isn't safe enough, yet they're going to play in the trophy today. So there's contradictions going up and down the country with football clubs. I thought our statement yesterday had real clarity because trying to work out the National League statement, it took, I don't know, something out of... You needed a degree to go through that. So
you really did, didn't you? I read that, and it took me about 4 reads to actually get to the bottom of it. Yeah, it was
exactly. So I thought there's clarity in our message, in our statement, and where we are at this present moment in time. We the honest answer is I don't know where we're going to go from here at this present moment. We don't know how the week's going to pan out. We don't know whether the National League are going to come out and make a statement, which I think they should. I think maybe waiting on the FA Trophy because a lot of our teams in our league were playing the FA Trophy today. So absolutely in limbo, Owen. Absolutely in limbo.
As mentioned, we're going to speak to Nick a bit later on. I'm sure he'll go into the sort of administration and as you mentioned, the political side of things. As a manager, and you have to deal day to day with players, and you have to try, even though you can't in this current situation, to give them some clarity about what's going to happen. How difficult is this job making you? I'm not just talking about this season, which may or may not go to a conclusion. I'm talking about the future of your squad going beyond that. I mean, how difficult does that make it?
That's a really good point, Owen, because I was making some notes here yesterday actually about my concerns and the worries are. I mean, dangerous people listening to interviews, but I'll be quite open in it. The concerns are that we might lose some of our better players. Then we all know the National League, the league above us, are all playing. And if I'm a team in the National League and I'm looking to strengthen, why wouldn't they look at the leagues below to take a loan player or take a permanent player that are doing really well at this level? I.e. what we did when we went for Alex Fletcher. Yeah, we did the same. We knew the Southern League was more or less redundant, wasn't going to start again. So, of course, we were looking to recruit and we were lucky enough to be able to get that one done. So that's a concern that always, and I speak to you about it all the time, the player fitness and, of course, their well-being. So not only am I sat here on a Saturday afternoon feeling a little bit depressed and down, I'm pretty sure my players are. In fact, I know my players are as well because, again, that's their release and it's something they take really seriously. So the more they're sat at home, the more they're losing their fitness, and it's a vicious circle. The more you don't feel good about yourself mentally, physically. So that's my concern, and it always is about my players. How do I spin it positively for us and as a group? Do I start to look at recruitment for next year yet, knowing I don't know if we're going to start again? So that's a little bit difficult. I'm doing as much as I can. We had them in on Thursday to chat to them because that's all we could do. Paul came across, Paul Williams, and he had a difficult conversation. He was excellent in the way he explained the situation from the finances of the football club, and was really clear with that. So the players got real clarity. I have to say they're all very, very accommodating. They're all very, very understanding to the situation. So, he came across and we had a chat with them, but it's just trying to stay in touch with them over the WhatsApp again. No doubt we'll have to do a couple of Zooms, but how many of them can you do? How many can you keep doing? And almost feels like since the playoffs, which seems a long, long time ago, we're ending up in the same situations.
And apart from anything else, obviously you mentioned, that there is that danger that, some of your players could be picked off by above, to use that phrase. But there's also an issue, I guess, with your own deals and contracts with players, because without that clarity of what's going to happen and in terms of, next season and all that sort of thing, there's all that up in the air as well, presumably.
Well, there is, because there's 3-4 months of football still to be played. There's 27 games or whatever it is now. I lose track, but and we're still making decisions on players, of course, for next season. You're right. Some of the players haven't hit the form that they were in last year. So, but that's no panic because I know that'll probably come. Someone like Tom Smith, I had a good chat with Tom in training on Thursday night, and he said, "Look, I know my form hasn't been great, but I just feel like I'm starting to get going." Us as a group, as I said to you before, we're only 13 league games in, Owen, and we didn't have that pre-season. We didn't have the time together. We only played 4 games. I knew it'd take us 10 games, generally 10 games to get ourselves going. So a little bit longer, 13 games, genuinely feeling like the group's coming together. And we hit a brick wall again. So the players are in uncertainty. Make no bones about it. Not one has come to me and said, "Look, Gaffer, what's happening with my contract next year?" Because they're not daft. They're not. They know that couldn't even be a discussion at this present moment in time, because where are we going to be with budgets? And as we stand at this present moment in time, if you're taking it legally, the league have actually said to us we'll get fined. There's a chance of expulsion from the league. The biggest one could be that. I really don't believe that will happen, because I think there's too many clubs that are deciding to opt out. But that's a concern. So, as a football manager, that's one thing for sure I don't want. Don't want points deducted, because that'll be tough enough as it is. We're sat on 13 points after 13 games. There's a lot to do. But we're really confident we could soon be 11th spot, 3 points off 11th. We're only 10 points off the playoffs, I think it is. So with a lot of games to play and 2 games in hand on a lot of teams. So there's a positive in that. But when, how, and if are we going to get going again? And as I said, all the players will be going through the same emotions, Owen, I'm pretty sure.
Difficult, as always, Joe. But I mean, looking ahead to the next week, the next 7 days, as you've mentioned, in so many ways, you're quite powerless in this situation. You've just got to wait and see what happens. But what in terms of the next week, and what do you want to happen, and what needs to happen?
I'll be honest. I'm so baffled by it all, and this is not against the football club. This is from my stance with the league. I just think it's going to run and run. I really do. I certainly don't see Sport England coming up with any funds and any grants to just give out, because they fall under a big umbrella. And there's all sorts of things like leisure centres and rehab leisure centres, rehab clinics that need money and funding. And where does football fall in that? I totally understand that. We're probably below that. We shouldn't be ahead of someone who's going in to get who's had a cardiac arrest that's getting rehab at a leisure centre, for instance. So I don't see how that's going to change. We haven't got a multi-millionaire at the football club who's going to say, there you go, there's a load of money and you go off and we'll pay the players so you can finish the season. So I haven't got a clear definitive answer, and I can't even plan my week. That's the worry. I can't plan my week. So as I said, I'm sat here now looking at my week schedule, and I don't know where we're going to go from here. What I want us to play football. That's if you're asking me black and white, what do you want? As the question you've said, we all want to just play football. We all want to compete in the league, contrary to what people may think of clubs, and everyone have different agendas where they are in the league. I don't care where we are in the league. I want to come back and compete in the National League South, because I'm confident in the group, confident in what we do, that we'll end up in a playoff spot still, and I believe that with 27 games to go. So that's all I want. We live and breathe football. We want to play football. I'm a football manager, and they're football players. So the politics behind that, as you said, I can't be in control of it, and the powers that be will work that out. And our football club, as I've probably finished on this, the football club has done the right thing at the right time, because what we can't do, we can't put our club in a situation where we're taking on more debt, and I totally understand that and get it. So let's hope and pray there might be an angel that falls down from the sky over the weekend and wave the magic wand, and come next week we can get back playing football in the National League South. But I think there's going to have to be a lot of meetings, a lot of to and fro, and a lot of conversations from way above our football club powers before any of that happens.
Jerry, sensible stuff as always. I thank you so much for coming on a Saturday afternoon to talk to us again, and I hope we'll catch up again relatively soon, and it might be happy. We might at least have some clarity, and we'll be able to.
Sorry, my voice wasn't quite as bubbly as what it normally is, but hopefully people understand.
I think you're doing very well under the circumstances, to be honest. But
a big thanks to the fans as well. Just to stay with us, and as I said, when we were going through all the other difficult times. I totally understand that they're with us as well, and we thank them for their support. It's lots over social media with their support. I think they understand the club decision, and what we have to ensure is Bath City Football Club's still here. For when I'm gone, for years and years and years gone, Bath City needs to be here. It's 3 years hard work to get it to where we've got it. Looking at the accounts from the week, what we've done in the last 3 years on and off the pitch is remarkable. So it's important that we ensure the football club's still here and we're playing football. So, like I said, let's pray. Let's all stick together and let's pray we can get going as soon as we possibly can.
Jerry, well said as always. Thank you so much for your time again. We'll catch up with you next week with a bit of luck, and hopefully we'll have some more clarity then. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, mate.
No problem.
Bye.
This is Radio Bath.